can start.
Thank you, Cath. Hello again. Hello. Thank you for coming to our session. We can hardly see you because of the lights, but we know you're there because we can hear you. So I'm Mel Larsen. I think most of you are here this morning, so you know that I'm a marketing consultant and a small business coach working internationally.
And I'm Cath Hume, and I'm the CEO of the AMA, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the AMA in a moment. So, ready? Okay, cool. So, it's lovely to be here, and this session we are talking about the Audience Diversity Academy, which I will go into detail on in just a moment. But before I do that, it's quite helpful to know who runs this academy and why we do it. So, as I said, I'm the CEO of the AMA, and this is our team. This is the team that I have working with me in the office, and we are a fairly small organisation. We are a membership body, so we have around 2,000 individual members from organisations right across the UK, a few internationally, but mainly within the UK. And our members come from theatres, galleries, art centres, museums, touring companies, a really broad range of organisations. And they come, and the people that we have as members is quite a broad range as well. So we have a lot of people with either marketing or audience development in their job title. But we also have chief executives, artistic directors, fundraisers, ticketers, people working in education. And we're finding that that spread of job titles is becoming more and more diverse as the AMA grows. And the AMA has been around for 25 years. It's our 25th birthday in actually just later this month, which is very exciting. And over the years we've developed, but currently our current vision and mission are this. So, for the AMA, diversity and inclusion are at the very heart of what we do as an organisation, because if we don't make real change within our sector, then we're never going to achieve this vision. We're never going to have a flourishing society where culture is part of everyone's life, because people will always feel or will be excluded. So, for us as an organisation, diversity is absolutely key to our success in realising our vision. And that's an enormous task, a very exciting task that we have ahead of us at the AMA. And we are just one organisation that are sort of part of a network of organisations trying to make real change. But this is really, really important to us. And I'm telling you this because out of this has sprung a number of things, including the Audience Diversity Academy. Earlier, Mel was talking about organisations needing to take a 360-degree approach to diversity, and this is absolutely what we have done at the AMA. So this is a screenshot of our 360-degree diversity and inclusion strategy. And as I've said, what the AMA would like to see is real long-term change in the arts and cultural sector in the UK. And that real long-term change, our vision for that is that every person in the UK finds a way to live their cultural life. For us to make that change, we believe that we can make it by working with our members, our 2,000 and growing membership, so that they become diverse and that they work within their organisations to make change that means that they are truly, genuinely inclusive. So there's kind of a chain reaction to what we do. For that to happen, the AMA needs to be a diverse organisation. We need to equally think about what's going on inside our organisation as what's going on outside in the sector. So our 360-degree diversity strategy talks about the AMA team, our board, our programme, the speakers that we engage with, the suppliers that we use, everything that we do needs to be thought through in terms of diversity and inclusion. I could go on about that, and I'm not going to. But out of this has sprung a number of programs, and one of these is the Audience Diversity Academy. So, we're there now. We're finally talking about what you're here to hear about. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about exactly what this academy is, and then Mel is going to talk about some of the impacts of the academy and some of the things that you can take away with you. So, the Audience Diversity Academy is exciting for lots of reasons, and I'm going to share 3 key reasons with you. The first is that it's entirely virtual. So everything that takes place within the academy takes place online. And what that means is that we can bring together people from a disparate geography and bring them together and make connections. The second reason the other reason that's exciting is that it saves us money. So we can do more for less, which is something that most arts organisations are trying to do every day. So the first really exciting thing is that it's a virtual academy. The second really exciting thing is that within this academy, we encourage the people involved to embrace agile working. Now, agile working is something that you probably all know about, but just to refresh, it sprung up in the United States, and it's a philosophy, a way of working. Now, we don't subscribe to all of the agile working practices, but what we've taken from it is the ethos of experimentation and iteration. So, what that means is that instead of being hung up on trying to be perfect and not doing anything publicly until it's perfect, we encourage people to give something a go, to just try something, and if it doesn't work, then understand why, and then try something else. So that spirit of experimentation is really key within the academy. And then the third reason that it's really exciting is because it's all about helping individuals and their organisations reach more diverse audiences. And actually not just reach them, but engage with them, co-create with them, whatever is appropriate for that organisation. So those are the 3 really key things about the academy. How it works in practice is each time we run it, we bring together around 20 organisations, and we ideally would have 2 people from each organisation, because we found that that makes the impact sort of go further within the organisation. So we have 20 organisations, 2 fellows from each organisation, and they are assigned a mentor. These are our mentors. And because it's a virtual academy, we can have mentors from wherever we want. So we have mentors in the UK, the US, Australia, and New Zealand. That's our current spread. Each organisation gets assigned a mentor, and they work with them over a period of 6 to 9 months to explore the challenges their organisation is facing and to develop experiments to try to overcome some of those challenges. So the organisations get a mentor. They also get a cohort of peers. So everyone that's on the academy gets together regularly online throughout the programme to share how it's going for them. So we start to build a network for people that they can talk about their challenges with. So they have their mentors, they have their peer group that they can share with, and then they also have access to online workshops. And each time we run the academy, we program about six online workshops on a range of topics, whatever it is that those organisations need. So that's what those organisations get. And in return, we ask them to share with us their journey. So they write blogs for us, they do vlogs, videos for us, and we really keep them feeding back to us all the time. Because whilst we can only have 20 people within each round, we want to share the learning as far as possible. So it's really important that that these guys realise how lucky they are to be on this programme and that they share what they're learning back out to the sector. I'm going to stop there because that's kind of the nuts and bolts, the how it works. And I think it might be more interesting now for you to hear from Mel about what actually happens within the Academy.
Thank you, Cath.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So, as Cath said, I'm going to tell you a bit about what people do on the Academy programme and what they get from it. So, as Cath was saying, a core part of the activity, if you like, of being on the Audience Diversity Academy is to take on a number of experiments to get started for the first time around diversifying audiences, or to refine an existing approach, or simply to try something new and see what happens. And we call them quick and dirty experiments, just like, you know, trying something new. So here are some of the experiments. I won't read all of them out, but some, for example, from the ones at the top are the simpler ones. So I'm mentoring someone at the moment, and we talked about, why don't you move your access information tab to the homepage of your website? Because research shows that people with disabilities don't want to spend hours looking around your website to find out where all the access information is. Put it on the homepage. So they're going to try that and measure the hits, see if it makes a difference. Another quick thing to do would be to try out some hashtags. Try some new hashtags. Follow different people. See if that brings new audiences to engage with you or to be aware of what you do. Quick and dirty research. Do some vox pops. Get the iPhone out. Interview people that are coming to your venue, or get out in the street and interview people that don't attend. Learn something new. This picture shows an artist takeover of an Instagram account. Often organisations will say, we don't have time to create a new strategy or do something new, or we can't change our programme. But there's always something you can experiment with. And with this particular organisation I'm mentoring, I said, what about doing some kind of a takeover of your venue, or something you do by the target audience so that you can hear their voice? And he said, well, yeah, we could do something on our Instagram. You know, that's easy. And so they gave over the Instagram page to this artist who kind of programmed their Instagram account for the day. I really love that idea. So there's all sorts of things that constitute an experiment. What kind of results are possible out of these experiments on the Audience Diversity Academy? Quite a lot, actually. It's quite amazing what can happen when people really start to focus on change, learning, development of particular audiences. So we've had organisations who have attracted 4 times the usual number they have for audiences with disability for a particular show. I'd say that's a result worth having. We've had an annual national community event, doubled their audience. Another national organisation created a family afternoon and attracted 50 local refugees for a first-time visit. And they learned a lot from that experiment, by the way, because they got a lot of things wrong. But because it was an experiment, the refugee audience had a great time, but the organisation realised there was a lot of things that they should and could have thought about to make that visit better. So they learned a lot. And another organisation attracted 5 times the amount of access buddies for people with disabilities that they thought they were going to attract. So really good results come out of this whole structure that Cath was just sharing with you. I'm just going to talk through a couple of examples. This one is an event called Cinema Day, which is organised by a national organisation called Film Hub NI standing for Northern Ireland. And every year they have lots and lots of screenings of films around a particular theme. And the screenings take place in community venues and also cinema venues. So they basically have members that sign up and they support them with the screenings with very small grants and generic publicity. So with this person I was mentoring, we talked about how to get the members to sign up to the theme of that particular year, which was diversity, and she wanted them to attract audiences they wouldn't normally attract, particularly audiences on low income, and families. And so we worked on the idea of creating a movement online and encouraging all the members to take part in a phone call where she briefed them on, this is my vision, I really want us to really push it this year, and to have a hashtag that everyone used, and them to really make an effort to find these target audiences. And it was a huge success. In fact, this was the result that I shared earlier. She doubled her audiences across, something like 50 members. So they doubled the audiences. She was very, very happy with that. And actually, her experiment really was an experiment in leadership within the context of diversity, because it required her, she did some public speaking, which she was uncomfortable with at that point, and she led those 50 members to do things in a different way. She inspired them. Another example, this is Southeast Dance, a much smaller experiment. So the person here that I was mentioning was called Madeline, a young woman, and she just self-described herself as, she said, Mel, I'm a young, white, middle-class woman, and I want to attract local black audiences, I want to attract audiences with disability, I want to attract young people, and I don't know where to start. I don't feel I have anything in common with these people. We don't have a mailing list. I don't know what to do. So we devised an experiment where she would literally get on the phone and contact people the old-fashioned way, which, by the way, works really, really well in this area of work, and invite them to connect with her and find out what could the partnership be, and not to contact them purely from a space of come to our venue, but to look at how to create something that was mutually beneficial, and not just assume that they'd be interested. She was so excited when she called me back. She did 30 calls, and this is someone who said, I am too busy to make calls. She'd made lots of really deep connections. The manager of a local housing estate for people on low income had gone to lunch with her. She'd come and actually done one of the dance classes. She'd made a really strong contact, and they had a grant that they were giving. You'd expect if you're offering a grant that you would get a lot of people applying, which they did, but there was always, the same old people. They never had a diversity of application. They had the most diverse take-up, and at their events, they had an enormous diversity of people turning up. So she was hugely, hugely pleased with that result from the Academy. Of course, there are challenges in this kind of work, because it's new work. If you think about, those of you in marketing, if you think about the Ansoff matrix, that 4-box matrix, a lot of the time this can be new work to new audiences or existing work to new audiences. Those quadrants they're difficult because you're introducing newness. You have to think in a new way. You have to introduce new practices. You have to be willing to make mistakes. So a typical one is getting buy-in for the rest of the organisation. Sometimes the people on the Audience Diversity Academy are chief execs, sometimes they're not. So sometimes they're having to learn how to sell ideas upwards. Also, lack of market information about the target audiences. Often the fellows of the programme feel, I don't know anything about this audience, where do I start? Confidence to make change happen. It requires often people to find a leadership, even when they're not the designated leader. And we're all busy in the cultural sector, aren't we? And introducing a new thing where, especially in an organisation that doesn't see it as a priority, can be challenging. So we support them through all those things. And lastly, the tips from the participants. I asked them, I'm going to be talking at various conferences about the work that we do. What would you say to people who are about to go through a process that you're about to go through? And, here are their tips. Avoid making those assumptions about the communities that you're targeting, the audiences you're targeting. Be prepared to learn. I'll quote directly here. Someone said, we can all say we'll get onto that later. The suck it and see approach works. Just do it. So that's where the experimentation approach can work really well, because you can just trial things, small scale, and learn quickly. And, as some people say, fail faster. Although we don't often have that many failures. Often it's just putting your attention into it, the attention that hasn't been there before. If you encounter a barrier, think around it. So keep going. And that's where the mentoring and coaching comes in to help people get through the challenges and the resignation they might feel. What I've just been talking about, find the leadership inside yourself. Diversifying your audiences can require a lot of leadership because some people think it's nonsense or they think it's not, doesn't make economic sense. So you often find you have to stand firm. And record the positives in every mini victory. Even if your experiment was a really small thing, like you did a little Instagram takeover or you tried a new hashtag, it's worth trying something new, and often really interesting, positive results come from that. Even if it's a small thing, on the Academy, even if you get 5 new audience members, that's something to build on. But honestly, very often, the results are a lot bigger than that, just from some very small steps. So I hope that gives you a flavour of what it's like to be on the programme. I'm going to hand you back to Cath now, who's going to talk about the bigger picture.
Do talk about the bigger picture, there is one case study that I found really exciting from within the Audience Diversity Academy. And there's an organisation called the Hull Truck Theatre, and they came on the Academy, maybe the previous cohort to this one, and the woman who came on the Academy is called Ruth Puckering. And when she first joined the Academy, she was talking to her mentor, and her mentor said, "Why are you doing this?" And Ruth gave her answer, and the mentor said, "No, but really, why are you doing this?" And through this sort of challenging, Ruth realised that actually her organisation hadn't clearly identified what being part of this programme and what diversity meant for them as an organisation. So Ruth's experiments were to go back to her team, and she wasn't the CEO, but to go back to her team and spend time with her CEO and with everyone across the team, talking and understanding what diversity meant to them as an organisation. So she was trying out what it looks like to run focus groups with teams in your organisation, to put together a cross-departmental group who would take the lead on diversity within their organisation. And out of this work, so it was very strategic, it was very sort of, top-level work, and out of this work in the Academy, they really were able to very clearly and with great clarity talk about why diversity is important to them, what it looked like for their organisation. And from that has sprung an enormous amount of work. And now I often see their name mentioned in relation to work that they've done within this area of diversity and inclusion. So I'm just sharing that with you because there's a lot of incredible work that happens in the Academy, and some of it is very tactical, and some of it is very strategic, and some of it is somewhere in between. So we asked this question: what impact could a programme like the Audience Diversity Academy have on a sector? And that's important to us because whilst we absolutely want each person who comes on it and their organisation to experience change, for us it's also about the collective impact of running something like this. So there are lots of different things, lots of different impacts that this has on the sector. For a start, we are growing the number of people that feel confident within this area, that have developed their knowledge and understanding. And whilst some of the solutions feel very simple, the ideas around inclusion can actually be very complex. So we are helping each year another 20 organisations really understand what diversity means to them and to think about challenging things like intersectionality, where you're thinking about not just one facet of someone, not just that I'm a woman, but what does it also mean that I'm a white woman or a black woman or whatever it might be. So helping people really understand that. So we are building collective knowledge and understanding. Not just that, but also we are encouraging those people, or we are actually not encouraging them, they have to do this. We are making them share their learning and their knowledge with the whole sector. We run a website called culturehive.co.uk, culturehive.co.uk, and that website has thousands of resources on all different areas of marketing, audience development, leadership, lots of stuff. But within there, we are sharing the learning from the Audience Diversity Academy. So in terms of impact on a sector, this is about upskilling the whole sector so that we all learn from each other's experiments. And it's very much about building a groundswell of determination and commitment to changing the way that we work. Because these experiments might seem quite small, and some of them are big and some of them are small, but just making that start can cause a chain reaction. And if we can harness what's coming out of the Audience Diversity Academy, we can really start to push that chain reaction right across the sector and see real, genuine change, not just in who is coming, not just in who is buying a ticket, but who's working in the sector, who's programming the work that we put on our stage, who is the artist that created this work. We can see change in all areas of the sector. So for me, I know that sounds massive, but I really believe that this program is a key part in making that change and making that happen. So that is the impact that I believe the Audience Diversity Academy can have on the sector. I think we are now ready for questions and thoughts. So should we ask for the house lights?
Yes, that would be great.
Could we have the house lights up so we can see everybody? Thank you very much. And yeah, questions on anything that we've talked about or the work that you're doing, anything that you have. Oh, what's this? What's this? Oh, amazing.
That's a big one.
I love it.
I've never seen a mic like that.
No, I love it.
It's great. So, or comments, feedback. We'd like to, have a discussion with you. So, yes. That's so cute.
Yes, I guess you can just chuck it at people.
Hi, Kaya from Interkultur in Drammen. We're so lucky to be able to speak more to Mel Larsen tomorrow. But for now, I think just speaking to some peers here, we're very almost jealous of everything you've done in England and just to create that momentum around it. And I was just wondering a little bit, maybe a boring question, but how you managed to get support for these kind of things? Do the people who access the Diversity Network Academy, do they pay? How is it funded? All of those things. I think we have a lot of areas to grow here in Norway, and it's inspiring to hear from what you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you. So, for us, absolutely one of the challenges with a program like this is people being able to pay for it, because we run loads of training programs, and we know that people have limited training budgets. So for us to make something like this happen, we decided that we wanted bigger support. So Arts Council England fund this program, and they fund it as part of a bigger program that we do, which has this in it. It has Digital Lab, which is basically this, but for digital marketing. It has a program for leaders of small organizations, and it funds the Culture Hive website. So they give us the money for these programs, but we do ask organizations to pay to come on these, because if people don't pay, they don't value. So that's absolutely, it would take a lot of persuading for me to do something for free, because I just don't think people value it. But the funding means that we can make it accessible for any organization. So we charge, depending on whether you're an AMA member or not, somewhere between £150 and £250 to come on the programme. But that is really a very small percentage of, it's probably, my maths is bad, but bear with me, about an eighth of the cost for each organisation to take part. So it's really heavily funded. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Any other questions? Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, and I get so inspired by you talking, and I'm sitting here thinking maybe we should have a big house somewhere in Norway, which is a diversity academy here, where we train people and teach them, because that is what we need. We need to start training people, because we talk a lot and nothing is happening, and I think it's about time to start doing the training. And I think by making that happen, we should talk more together with you, and if we could visit you, you can come to us. I mean, there's so many possibilities here, and I think it's about putting it on a higher level than we are doing now, and that's what you're showing. That training is the means of making things work. Because for myself, I've been talking about this for so many years, since 1993, and I meet the same people, the same audience, meet the same people in the same conferences, and I'm starting to laugh at myself even, because it's, so I think this is really a way to go, and I think we should talk to the Arts Council also in Norway to see how we can make this work, and we really need your help.
And we would be delighted to offer that help. And whatever happens, I think I speak for both of us. Yes. We're always really keen to have conversations. And, so whatever happens, we'd love to have conversations with you, and see what happens from there. So, yes, that would be fantastic.
Great, thank you. Who else?
Can I say one other thing?
Yes.
What you said about, you've been talking about this for a long time and really working hard to make change. Like, you're not alone in that. And the reason that the AMA... We made a sort of a big change to our approach to diversity and inclusion about 2 or 3 years ago. And that was because we were getting frustrated as well, because we were having the same conversations and people were saying to us, why are you telling us this again? Why are you telling us how important this is? And I would say, because not enough is happening, not enough is changing. And so, I feel like people have been talking about this for a long time, and that there hasn't been real change yet. But I am absolutely positive that we will see that change now. And I do feel that organisations and leaders of organisations are really starting to get behind this and want to see that change. So, of course, there has been change. There has been some, but it's not enough. So, we're all together on this mission to really see it happen.
Those of you who heard my keynote speech this morning, I talked about the importance of having a vision. That's what I'm talking about. That's what makes change. Okay, I'm really curious about what's the silence. Oh, was that a hand? Yeah, great. I was just like, why is everyone quiet? Are you like thinking about what we said? Or... You're Norwegians? Okay, it's cultural. Okay. Thank you for educating me.
I was just wondering, because to make change, okay, so you can try to be your own leader and motivate, but it is difficult if it's not anchored. Did it help to get funding from the Arts Council? Because it makes it more official policy, right? To get it up there.
Well, you would hope that that's the case. Does it help the Arts Council? It does help. It does help the Arts Council England are, in their words, championing diversity. It helps because all of the organisations that they fund have to, are being measured against the change that they make in that area. However, what Mel was talking about earlier, about that, I'm going to call it the hierarchy of change, from we will do something to satisfy our funders to we're going to change the world, it's still too easy for people to sit at this level. And that is one of the challenges for some of the people that come on the academy, is that they're not the leader of the organisation. They can take a leadership role, but they're not the leader. So they come in and they're excited and they're ready, and then they reach all these blockages and they can't make the change that they want to make. And that is a reality. And we help them by doing a lot of coaching around what we call managing up, so how to influence. But at the same time, the AMA also is coming at leaders with lots of messages about the amazing things that organisations have achieved when they have made real change. So we're sort of having to approach it from lots of different ways. So your question was, yes, I think the Arts Council England focus helps, but it's not enough. There needs to be more around that. But it absolutely helps because it's on everyone's minds now. They know that this is really important. But you have to believe that it's important. There's a difference between knowing it's, saying, I know that's important, to really believing it's important. And I don't know.
I think it also helps that it's an Arts Marketing Association programme, an AMA programme, because the AMA has, 2,000 members, and that ripple effect, I think we're already beginning to feel that in the membership because people realise, okay, this is not going away, there's lots of other members who are doing it, people are talking about it, so I think having an official body and official partners certainly helps because people take it seriously.
Especially CEOs take it seriously if it comes from the Art Council. So
exactly.
It kind of needs to go up there to make it easier to go from below.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And I should add that as what you said about the ripple effect is absolutely true, but as the Arts Marketing Association, there are CEOs, and I can't, they must be crazy, but there are CEOs who say Arts Marketing Association, that's nothing to do with me. So yes, to have that, the word you just used was good.
I said endorsement. I was thinking about something else there.
Oh, well, that was right. Yeah. To have the endorsement from the Arts Council, who do have the ear of all the CEOs, that has been really useful. Yeah.
The other thing is in the application process, it has to have the backing of the CEO.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to put it on paper, and sometimes people turn up on the programme and we realise the CEO doesn't really understand the depth of the work required, but it's a start. Any other questions or comments? We've got 7 minutes left, so we could stand in silence or we could have a conversation. What does it make you think of what we've shared? Are there more people thinking we'd like to have that, or is there anyone who thinks, why are we doing it? We're open to all comments or questions.
We could ask a question back.
We can ask you a question. My question for you would be, if you could take on an experiment, what do you think your experiment would be? Is there something you'd like to try in the field of diversifying your audiences?
I think we should ask you to think about that to talk to someone sitting near you about that question.
Good idea, Cath.
And we've got 6 minutes left, so you have 3 minutes to discuss that with someone sitting near you, and then we'll have 3 minutes for you to share your thoughts back if you are happy to do that. So take some time to talk to the people near you, and if you're on your own, move closer to someone and have that conversation. So 3 minutes, and the question is, what experiments might we try? Everybody, and thank you very much. I hope that your discussions have started you thinking. And we're going to try this catchbox in action. So we're just going to throw it, and if you really don't want to say anything, that's totally fine. Just throw it at someone else. So get ready to catch, though. Be aware that might come into your face.
Catch that box.
Yeah, go on.
Woo!
Yay!
So, hello. What am I supposed to say?
What were you talking about? Did you?
Well, I come from a museum background, and you're from a theater background, and we were discussing why we're here. From my perspective, I'm interested in spatial issues with museums, especially, it could be how you welcome people, how you feel in a space, for everybody, but especially people with disabilities. And maybe, do you want to add something about your perspective, maybe?
We didn't get like a concrete thing that we wanted to try, but at our theater, for instance, we are already doing some things. We have started a school for theater students with background from outside Europe. and we are going to do theater shows at the stage in an area outside of the center in Oslo where there are a lot of immigrants and people with different ethnic backgrounds. And we have to, I think I was really inspired by that thing you're saying about seeing things in a 360-degree perspective, and that we have to, so that we don't do what we think people want us to do, but actually find out what do they want? Do they want this? And how do they want it done? And yeah, that was one thing, and I also think that we have to, when we're, for instance, hiring people, we don't have to, or we're often writing people with minority background are encouraged to apply, but that we actually maybe have to do a better effort to reach people with different backgrounds, so that our whole organization are represent the mangfold, diversity in our society. And because it's a good start that we have this school so that we can show different backgrounds on the stage, but we have to do it in all areas of the organization.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
We are being flashed out.
I wonder what that flashing, I was so interested. I thought there's this annoying flashing thing. Should I have one final comment before we have to close?
We have talked enough.
Okay.
But we heard some rumors that you might be talking with NPU about how we can even think about about bringing this to Norway as well. So
yes, we are. Yes, and we're starting that meeting tomorrow.
That is good news.
Yeah. So for all of us, let's fingers crossed that we can make that happen. That's our vision. So yeah.
Great.
Great.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much for spending this time with us. Yes, one last very quick question.
Well, actually,
yes. Oh, you have to answer that.
That's an amazing question.
Yeah.
That is an amazing question. Am I allowed to say that's an amazing question? I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to be at lunch, and maybe between now and lunch, I will have worked out what that might be. But yes, that's a really good question. Thank you.
And also, you've mentioned lunch. It reminds me that if you want to come and talk to us one-on-one over lunch, we'd be more than happy to answer your questions there.
Yeah. Did you want to say something?
I think it's a big question and a little bit too late, so I'll see you at lunch.
Great.
Okay, great. Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everybody.
And thank you.